Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're taking a creepy detour down a forgotten stretch of Route 66. Buckle up, because the rumors say this highway is haunted. Let's see if Sarah, Emma, and Jake can survive a spooky road trip they won't soon forget. It was a hot summer day when Sarah and her friends, Emma and Jake, decided to embark on a classic American road trip along Route 66 in the southwest United States. They were all avid travelers and had heard about the Sarah, forgotten stretch of the iconic highway that was said to be filled with ghostly sightings. Let me know in the comments below. Excited and don't forget to like and subscribe for more spooky stories. Sarah's old Volkswagen van with a map and some snacks for the journey. The road ahead was long and deserted, with only the occasional abandoned gas station or motel for miles. Emma, who was in charge of the music, played some old country songs as they drove through the vast desert landscape. As the sun began to set, they came across a small town with a sign that read, "Welcome to Redwood." It seemed like an ordinary town at first glance, but something about it sent shivers down their spines. The streets were empty, the buildings looked run down, and there was an eerie silence that hung in the air. Ignoring their gut feelings, they stopped at a diner to grab some dinner before continuing their journey. The diner was dimly lit, and the only other customers were a group of locals huddled in a corner, whispering to each other. Sarah and her friends couldn't shake off the feeling that they were being watched. After finishing their meal, they got back on the road, with Emma now playing some upbeat music to lighten the mood. But as they drove through the town, they noticed something strange. The same group of locals they saw at the diner seemed to be following them in their cars. Feeling uneasy, Sarah stepped on the gas, hoping to leave the town behind. But no matter how fast they drove, the cars behind them seemed to keep up. Emma and Jake were now panicking, and Sarah's heart was racing with fear. They were in the middle of nowhere, with no one to turn to for help. Suddenly, their van started sputtering, and Sarah had to pull over to the side of the road. The other cars pulled up behind them, and the group of locals got out, making their way towards the van. Sarah and her friends were frozen with fear, not knowing what to do. The locals, who were now standing around the van, had a sinister look in their eyes. They seemed to be whispering to each other in a language that Sarah and her friends couldn't understand. Suddenly, one of the locals reached out and grabbed Sarah's arm, trying to pull her out of the van. In a panic, Sarah hit the gas pedal, and the van lurched forward, knocking the locals off balance. She kept driving until they were far enough away, and then she stopped to catch her breath. Emma and Jake were shaken, and Sarah knew they needed to get out of there as soon as possible. As they continued their journey, they realized they were now lost. The road they were on didn't seem to be Route 66 anymore, and the landscape had changed to a dark, eerie forest. They were surrounded by tall trees, and the only source of light was the moon shining through the branches. Feeling a sense of dread, they decided to pull over and spend the night in the van. But as they were settling in, they heard strange noises coming from outside. It sounded like footsteps and whispers, getting closer and closer to the van. Terrified, they locked the doors and turned off all the lights, hoping whoever or whatever was outside would go away. But the noises continued, and suddenly, there was a loud banging on the van's windows. Emma and Jake screamed, and Sarah's heart was pounding in her chest. After what felt like hours, the noises finally stopped, and the trio fell into an uneasy sleep. When they woke up the next morning, they were relieved to see that the sun was shining, and they were back on Route 66. They couldn't believe what had happened the night before, and were determined to put it behind them. As they continued their journey, they came across a roadside attraction called the Redwood Mystery House. The place seemed to be abandoned, but they decided to stop and explore. The house was filled with oddities and strange artifacts, and the tour guide, who was dressed in old-fashioned clothes, seemed to know a lot about the town of Redwood. As they were leaving, the tour guide handed them a flyer for a ghost tour that was taking place that night. Sarah, Emma, and Jake were hesitant at first, but their curiosity got the best of them, and they decided to join the tour. That night, as they walked through the town, the tour guide told them about the dark history of Redwood. The town was once home to a group of occultists who performed human sacrifices to appease their gods. The locals, who were descendants of the cult, still believed in their rituals and were trying to lure unsuspecting travelers to their town. Feeling sick to their stomachs, Sarah, Emma, and Jake realized that they had narrowly escaped becoming victims of the cult. They thanked the tour guide and left Redwood, vowing never to return. The road trip that was supposed to be a fun adventure had turned into a nightmare for the three friends. They learned to never underestimate the power of legends and always trust their instincts. And as they drove away from Redwood, they couldn't help but wonder what other horrors lay along the forgotten stretch of Route 66. Phew, that was a close call. What do you think happened to Sarah, Emma, and Jake? Do you believe the legends of Route 66? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more spooky stories. Until next time, stay safe out there.